So this is basically Lyrical Monasterio with the old Dimension Police mechanic being reworked into them. It's not that it's bad, it's just really out of place for some reason. But with every single art of this Rideline featuring Mr. Jack-O-Lantern, I'm all for it. And it might actually make the whole Dimension Police power up the Vanguard to gain additional skill mechanic to be really fun, if you can get past how to pronounce this archetype, that is. This video is sponsored by Phoenix Pharos Cards. If you need supplies of singles or splits for Cardfight Vanguard, especially the ones in the video, do check out Phoenix Pharos Cards today, and as a bonus, use the promo code MetaNerd to get an amazing 5% discount. And with that being said, let's get on with the video. Greetings YouTube, welcome back to the MetaNerd channel. I'm Marcus, bringing you another video for Cardfight Vanguard Willdress. In this video, we'll be talking about the new Rideline for Lyrical Monasterio that is coming up like a month at the time of the recording, and I think this is how you pronounce the archetype, LèVre SœurS, or just LèVre SœurS. I don't know. It might be something illegal going on here, but it's just me. This whole Rideline actually reintroduced the mechanic that was the bread and butter for a Dimension Police deck, where you will pump up the Vanguard as big as possible in order to activate certain skills. And of course, it's not going to be that straightforward. This whole Charmout deck does have additional mechanic to work with, and most of your targeting skills will only be able to target specific units with the archetype name. So it's actually not too bad, but I find it a little bit restrictive. Without further ado, let's take a look at what this new Rideline brings to the table, as well as what treat she will be giving. First and foremost, of course, is the grade 1. We have LèVre SœurS Haudia. Although when this unit is brought upon by a grade 2 card with LèVre SœurS in its card name, you may call this card to Rideline Circle. If you call a card, soul charge 1 and put this unit into soul at the end of that turn. Second skill, auto Rideline Circle. At the end of the battle, this unit attack or boosted. If you have power 23k or greater Vanguard with LèVre SœurS in its card name, cost put 2 grade 2 or less Vanguards with LèVre SœurS in their different name into soul and draw a card. The grade 1 Rideline is very interesting. She will be able to come out from the soul whenever your grade 2 Rideline stuff is rode upon her, which does helps in terms of putting on the aggression as well as setup for Charmout skill. By aggression here, it means that you are able to call this card out to the front row for an 8k attacker, or you can superior call her behind the Vanguard to let your center column have an 18k attacker, which the opponent might be discouraged to guard, because even with a 15k shield, it's a 1 to pass. Not only that, even if you call her out from the soul, you actually do not lose any soul count, because she does soul charge 1 and she goes back to the soul, which you technically gain 1 soul out of the whole interaction, which is very, very nice. You're able to put 2 LèVre SœurS Rearguard back into the soul in order to draw. This is actually really good in terms of going up against decks that has board control, for example Gandiva. This technically prevents the opponents from board controlling or attack into your important pieces. Now keep in mind here is that since it does not really says put 2 other grade 2 or less rearguards, Haudia herself can be a part of the 2 grade 2 or less rearguards to be put to soul to draw 1. You are able to superior call your rearguards back from the soul by using Charmout skill, so technically it doesn't really matter. The draw 1 is definitely going to be nice, and it just allows you to dig for more pieces. You are able to use the second skill as soon as turn 2, provided if your Vanguard is able to hit for 23k and above. It is quite hard to actually achieve 23k without any booster, so even if you put Haudia behind your grade 2 Vanguard, it's going to be an 18k, which means that you still need a 10k power in order to fulfill the condition to put 2 rearguards back into soul. But of course, if you manage to dry check a trigger, you are able to meet the requirement. It's going to take a little bit of playtesting in order to use the second skill on the second turn, because you will be very aggressive in terms of your card pieces, because you will need to throw down another LèVre SœurS Rearguard and getting the 23k and above Vanguard. Only then you're able to activate her skill to put 2 of those Rearguards to soul and draw 1. Overall, a very solid grade 1, and it does help maintain your hand size, and of course set up for Charmout skill. For the grade 2, we have LèVre SœurS Calmina. Continuous Vanguard Circle. If your soul has 2 or more grade 1 or less cards with LèVre SœurS in their different card names, when you would write a grade 3 card with LèVre SœurS in its card name from right deck, you can write it without discarding a card from hand. Second skill, auto Rideline Circle. Circle. When this unit is chosen by the ability of your Vanguard with power 23k or greater and LèVre SœurS in its card name, counter charge 1 and soul charge 1. Riding for free into Charmout is always going to be nice. This means that you don't have to discard your precious hand size in order to ride. Is really great, and in this card's case it's a confirmed activation. Since the Great One is able to go back into the soul regardless if you activate her skill or not, thanks to her own Rideline skill, as well as having the Grade 0, which is also a LèVre SœurS in the soul, it's basically allowing you to ride for free no matter what the circumstances is, unless for some reason your opponent is able to take away the Grade 1 or Grade 0 from the soul, which I highly doubt that would be the case. Calmina here is going to be the main attacker for the whole, because there's not a lot of LèVre SœurS at the moment for Charmout to take advantage of, and since this Grade 2 has a ability that is going to help out Charmout significantly by soul charging 1 and counter charging 1, is going to be really good. This card will be the most important LèVre SœurS unit that Charmout have, but of course when we go into the support card for Charmout, I think Charmout has a way to, you know, work around the board control matchup. For now, this card is going to be the most important unit for Charmout to actually function, as well as Charmout's combo turn. Next, we have the Grade 3 boss unit, LèVre SœurS Charmout. Active Vanguard Circle once per turn. Cost Counterblast 1. Choose up to 2 Grade 2 or less cards with LèVre SœurS in its card name from your soul, call them to Vanguard Circle, and this unit gets 5k power until the end of turn. Second skill, Auto Vanguard Circle. When this unit attacks while not boosted, choose 3 of your Grade 2 or less rearguards with LèVre SœurS in their different card names, and until the end of turn, increase or decrease their power to match the power of this unit. If this unit's power is 33k or greater and your opponent's Vanguard is Grade 3 or greater, cost Soul Blast 2. Until the end of turn, the rearguard in the back row center column that is chosen by this ability can attack from the back row and perform drive check. So the reason why Haudia, the Great One, is able to put your LèVre SœurS units into the soul to draw 1 is because of Charmout here. The first skill allows you to recall 2 Grade 2 or less LèVre SœurS from the soul, is definitely nice, and Counterblast 1 to call 2 is definitely well worth the cost, I would say. However, unlike Dimension Police, where you can still boost to give the power to slightly reach the power threshold that the Dimension Police might need to reach, you are unable to boost Charmout. You are unable to boost Charmout if you want to activate Charmout's skill. So you need to be very careful as to not boost and then, oh no, I don't really want to boost it because I need to activate Charmout's skill. On casual games, you might be able to get away with it, but in tournaments, yeah, you might not be able to get away with it. So do be very careful. So it's a little bit sad that you actually lose out on either an 18k or 13k booster power, but still you have support that actually powers up Charmout's skill. Charmout's power to whatever power, 33k power, to activate the full effect of Charmout's skill. Assuming that Charmout is at 33k, 3 of your Grade 2 or less rearguards with LèVre SœurS is able to gain a 33k power. What this means is that almost all of your attacks will benefit the more power that you give to Charmout, which is essentially like a Dimension Police deck. So focus on powering up Charmout as much as possible. It's quite sad that you can't activate the skill of Charmout at the end of the battle because you can't really give your board the extra power that you can get from triggers, which is a little bit sad, I would say. But still, 33k to almost all of your attacks is really disgusting. With one of your rearguards is able to attack from the center back row, this makes this deck a 4 attack deck with 2 of those attack having twin drive or, you know, 1 drive, depending on if the back row center rearguard is a Grade 2 or below. Quite disgusting. I mean, we already seen this kind of playstyle before in the form of Graham Grace, because these two decks function almost the same way. It's just a little bit of difference. It is quite disgusting considering that they are able to achieve a ridiculously high power without even personal riding. At least the 4 attack combo is restricted to you needing the opponent to be at Grade 3 or greater. If not, this deck might be really insane. Do keep in mind here is that the back row attacker is not really restricted to LèVre SœurS. You don't necessarily need to have LèVre SœurS in the back row for that unit to attack from the back row. So pretty neat flexibility, but still you might possibly want to have as much LèVre SœurS rearguard as possible. The cost for calling your rearguards as well as half of the Soul Blast is technically free, since you will be choosing up to 3 LèVre SœurS rearguards anyway. Of course, you can only choose a different LèVre SœurS. Technically, the whole cost only causes you 1 Soul Blast because the grade 2 Calmina is able to counter charge 1 and soul charge 1, which is really nice in terms of sustainability to activate Charmout's skill turn after turn. It is a very straightforward skill, but at the same time, it actually packs a punch. The more power Charmout has, the more powerful the whole board is. Now, of course, these are not the only cards that was introduced. There are, of course, support cards that was introduced alongside the whole Rideline. I mean, this is for sure. Let's take a look at those and see if you are able to click even more with this deck. I'm sure that this deck is meta contender. First off, we have Dreaming's Splurging, Ramona. Active Rearguard. If you have the grade 3 or greater Vanguard with LèVre SœurS in its card name, put this unit and another Rearguard into Soul, draw a card, choose one of your Vanguard, and it gets 5k power until the end of turn. I mean, this is just power boost for Charmout's requirement, and of course, she does provide you with Soul as well as hand. The 5k power boost is just nice for Charmout to reach 23k because Charmout herself does gain a 5k when you use her first skill. So with this in the mix, you're able to reach 23k quite nicely, and this of course does meet the requirement of Haudia, the grade 1, to put 2 Rearguards into the Soul to draw 1. This is a nice grade 3. This is a nice power boost for Charmout as well as providing you with Soul as well as draws you a card to then activate other skills. It's really nice. In turn, this also kind of fulfills the Soul Blast 2 of the second part of Charmout's skill that needs you to Soul Blast 2. Very nice card. Board building might be a little bit tough, but of course the draw power does kind of makes up for it. You do need to put this unit as well as another Rearguard into the Soul. Not the best cost that we've seen so far, but I'm sure that there's probably going to be another card within this set to actually help with the board building. One other sad thing about this card is that this unit is not a LèVre SœurS and therefore cannot be recalled with Charmout. Is a little bit sad, but still it is a grade 3. You can just call her to the back row to have you can just call her to the center back row to just get the twin drive. Of course, she won't be able to gain the power bonus by Charmout because she's not a LèVre SœurS. A little bit sad, but there's really nothing you can do about it. I'm sure once another LèVre SœurS is introduced for Charmout, this unit is definitely going to be kicked out from the deck. Next, we have Vivid Night Festival Orialis. Although when this unit is placed on Rearguard Circle, cost Blast 1, search your deck for up to 1 grade 2 or less cards with LèVre SœurS in its card name, reveal it and put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. Second skill, active Rearguard Circle. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with LèVre SœurS in its card name, rest this unit, choose a card from your drop, put it into your Soul, choose one of your Vanguard, and it gets 5k power until the end of turn. So it's basically just more consistency to get your grade 2 or less LèVre SœurS. Most likely you will want to choose either Calmina or Haudia. These two are the only LèVre SœurS that you are able to play multiple copies of. Technically you can play the starter as well. It's a LèVre SœurS, and with her being a grade 0 doesn't really matter anyway. Your board is just gonna be hitting like a truck, so it's actually not a bad idea to run more of the starter in the deck. Not only is she able to increase the consistency in getting LèVre SœurS from the deck, she's able to recycle any card from the drop into the Soul. Of course, it's most likely that you will want to just recycle your LèVre SœurS from the drop rather than another generic card because, you know, due to how restrictive Charmout is, it's much better that you recycle one of your LèVre SœurS. And with the 5k power as a bonus, this card is just really good. And what's more, it's active. You are able to just activate her skill turn after turn. It really doesn't matter. Although she is not able to boost whatever column, it doesn't really matter because Charmout is able to just give power to everything. Well, not technically everything, but still 3 units is really disgusting. One other aspect of this card is that it actually makes the discarding to right much easier to decide because you can just discard one of your LèVre SœurS and she's able to just put her to the Soul to then be recalled from Charmout's skill. Very nice synergy, and I'm not really surprised that this is a triple R. This card literally is the consistency card for Charmout. She's just really good. Next is a Magician's Work, Colby. Although when this unit is placed on Rearguard Circle, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with LèVre SœurS in its card name, Blast 1, choose one of your Vanguard and it gets 5k power until the end of turn. If your Vanguard has 23k power or greater, draw a card. This is just more bonus when your power is at certain power. By paying 1 Blast, you're able to provide a small power bonus to the Vanguard, which in turn benefits your whole board, as well as the draw is really good. And since the power requirement is only at 23k, the moment you personal right, the requirement for the second part is nothing. And yeah, do keep in mind that the draw part is mandatory. So in the off cases where you are near deck out, do keep in mind is that the draw is mandatory. Just keep in mind, just in case you are about to deck out. The Counterblast is kind of free because of Calmina. Pretty neat support card for Charmout, despite this is only her first set. Last but not least are these two cards. I put them together because I think both of these cards functions the same, and at the same time, I don't think you will want to run them for now, due to them not being LèVre SœurS, as well as doesn't provide a lot of benefit for Charmout. For the grade 1, we have Living Up Like Clotilde, whatever her name is. Auto Rideline Circle. At the end of the battle, this unit boosted. If you have a Vanguard with LèVre SœurS in its card name, cost, put this unit into the Soul and Soul Charge 2. The grade 2, Sweets of Appreciation Cassandra. Although when this unit is retired from Rideline Circle or Guarded Circle, if you have a Vanguard with LèVre SœurS in its card name, you may Soul Charge 1. So these two cards actually provides the much needed soul resources for Charmout, because Charmout does needs 2 soul in order to activate the second part of her main skill. But at the same time, I'm not too sure of how soul hungry Charmout will be, because Calmina does help with the soul already, and you don't really use a lot of soul based off the support card that we see thus far. So all in all, only consider running these two. If you find yourself constantly running out of soul and unable to activate Charmout's skill, then go ahead and run these two cards. And that is all for this video. Do let me know down in the comment section of what do you think of the whole Charmout deck. Do like and subscribe if you like this video, and of course during the bell notification icon so that you don't miss a video I upload. With that being said, I'll see you all on the field.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.